Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be rebuilding Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously a team that I would say is definitely coming up in real life. They've got quite a good squad already, but we're going to be trying to, make that team into a title winning team in 5 seasons. We are going to try and bring in some more elite players, especially when it comes to the defense of the team. But before we get into the video, be sure to leave the video a like, drop a comment below, be sure to subscribe as well. But let's get into the video. So this is going to be the first transfer window, and to be honest, we're not going to actually sign too many players. We've brought in one player who I think is a really good player, great player in real life, and a player that I do know quite a lot about, and that is going to be Dani Olmo from RB Leipzig for 64 million, potentially after add-ons, etc. But he's a fantastic player. He's going to be more of a shadow striker. He's only 23, so he's got years to develop in this team. His attributes are absolutely fantastic. Great teamwork, great vision, good off the ball as well. Decent amount of flair, and also the technique is very good. And he's going to fit right into our team, obviously, for the next 5 years, because that is what we're going to be doing again. It's always 5 seasons when we do one of these rebuilds. But we've got some players that have been brought in that necessarily we didn't make, but I am playing an up-to-date database, so that is why you'll see a lot of these players that are in the team. So we've got the likes of Basuma, Perisic, Forster, Sarr, Bentancur, Royale, Gil, Sanchez, Romero, Kuleveski. I always nearly butcher that name. Obviously, some of these players you have seen in real life, but Basuma is very recent, same as Perisic, and I believe Forster. But we have them players as well, so I mean, we've already made a few signings, so that's why I didn't go over the top. But I have strengthened, and I have brought in Dani Olmo. And this is going to be the best team we have. We'll see what it says. It has put Olmo right in there. Let's see if we agree. So it's got Lloris, Royale, Romero, Dyer, Regulion, Bentancur, Basuma, Kuleveski, I always butcher that, Olmo, Son, and Kane. I would 100% agree that is probably our strongest team. And honestly, with this team, we should be winning, not possibly winning, but we should be getting top 4. Then after a couple of seasons, I do want to see us at least competing for the Premier League. I am using the GYRFM4231 tactic, so big shout outs to him. I'm always honest with what tactic I use. Obviously, in the last rebuild, it was my own, so I didn't shout myself out, obviously. But no, that is his tactic, so big props to him. But let's get into the first season and see exactly how we do after we brought in Dani Olmo. So that is the first season simulated. Now, we've been given 61 million to spend going forward. So I don't know if that's because we've done well, because to be fair, our original budget was quite low, so it's quite hard to tell. But hopefully we've done all right. Obviously, we were in the Europa Conference League, so that's definitely something that we should be winning, or at least get into the finals of, I hope. Okay, well, very, very good, actually. I was not expecting to win the league in my first season. Obviously, I'm going to gas it up in a little bit. But first in the Premier League, lost in the quarterfinals to Man United, which, is going to be a tough game at the end of the day. We win the Conference League, but also win the Carabao Cup. So we do the treble, and it is a good treble. At the end of the day, we win the Premier League, we win the, Europa Trophy, and also the Carabao Cup. Harry Kane scoring 68 goals in his first season. But this is the star man here. Dani Olmo, the man that I said would be a great player to bring in and would suit this side down to a T, and he's done exactly that. Obviously, the highest match rating, 31 assists, and also 24 player of the match. We're the best at scoring goals. This is the one area which I definitely am going to strengthen, because we're the 6th best at conceding goals, which isn't bad, but overall we don't really need to look to strengthen going forward, because we're the best at scoring goals. We've got good attacking players. I don't want to do what I've been guilty of in last episodes, and that is winning stuff and still replacing players that don't need to be replaced. So the only plans I've got going into this transfer window is to possibly bring in some new players. If I can keep some of the loanees I had, because obviously that could open a whole can of worms. If I can't keep them, I might have to then replace them, and that's when it could get interesting. But the plans for this now is to go into this window, and as long as everything goes my way, just bring in some defenders, and let's get into season 2 of the transfers. So it's time for season 2 of the transfers, and one thing I wasn't aware of that was Christian Romero was actually on loan, but also I thought there was a clause in there to buy him back. But on here, it doesn't seem to be that there was. So I had to contact Atalanta directly, and they were quite reluctant to sell him because he did have a good season. But we managed to get him to sign for 48 million here. So although it's a player that did feature in the first season, he wasn't actually ours. Same with Kuleveski. We've got to go for him next season as well. They won't even talk about it yet. But obviously, it made sense to sign him because he is a player that did have a good season. He averaged like a 7.22 match rating, was quite solid at the back at the end of the day. And as you've seen here, this guy is incredible, 24 years old as well. But the main signing is going to be the person next to him, which is going to be Tomori from AC Milan. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are aware, had a fantastic season in real life and only costing us 45 million at the age of 24 as well. So definitely our back two sorted for years to come. Obviously, as I said, 24, great aggression, reasonably tall, good pace, good acceleration, great tackling, and obviously ability to grow as well. Meaning that our team now looks like this, which is very strong, very similar to what you've seen in the first window. But at the end of the day, we've only really brought in one new face because we couldn't let Romero go after the season he had. We wanted to sign him, so we did. So we've got Lloris, Royale, Romero, Tomori, Reguilon, Bentancur, Basuma, Kvaratskhelia, Olmo, Son, and Kane. Now, Hugo Lloris, he is a decent keeper, but this is definitely going to be his last season at the club. And I'm going to try and get a backup for him if I can before he retires. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give him this season. I believe he's still got time. He's still got time in his contract, so he'll still play. But after this, after this season, we're definitely going to have to try and bring in a better keeper because his ability is dropping slightly. He's still got decent attributes, but he is 35. He can't last forever. But let's get into the second season and see how we do. So that is going to be the second season simulated. We've been given a budget of 51 million. The wage is a bit in the red, but it's nothing too bad. Obviously, 51 million is quite a lot of money to spend. But as I said before, we're not going to spend it dependent on how we do. Like, at the end of the day, if we have a season where we don't play very well, I will strengthen. But I have definitely made the mistake before of having a good season, but also then replacing players that don't need to be replaced. But let's see how we done. Wow, okay, so it's actually back-to-back title seasons, which I did not expect with this Tottenham side. We won the quadruple. We won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield against good teams as well. Harry Kane getting 67 goals, which obviously is absolutely incredible. That's 2 great seasons out of him. Dani Olmo again getting most assists and the best match rating. So, I mean, the signing that we made, who was probably the star man, definitely has been a great signing. We were the best at scoring goals, the second best at conceding, only conceding 26. And overall, pretty much a flawless season. Not the greatest display in Champions League, but it was Barcelona in the first knockout, so not an easy tie there, that is for certain. We go into the squad then. So as you can see here, goals, we've got sort of Harry Kane with 67, Olmo with 22, Heung-min Son with 18, Lucas Moura with 15. Assists, we've got 39 from Dani Olmo, 12 from Kvaratskhelia, who is joining them permanently. That was a deal that was actually agreed, so we do have him ongoing. 12 coming from Royale, 12 from Basuma, 10 from Son, 10 from Bentancur. So, I mean, we look at match rating and look at some of the worst performers. It might give me an indicator on who we can sort of bring in. Son not having a great match rating, but a decent season. To be honest, I might look to try and add in. It is difficult now. Possibly another very good midfielder, because obviously Basuma and Bentancur are good. But then, I mean, the rotation isn't bad. We've got Højbjerg, we've got Harry Winks I might offload. But Celso's decent as well. So we've not got a horrific midfield. Shadow striker, obviously we've got one main man. We've got Brian Hill who can play there as well. Harry Kane, possibly a player which I could look to try and get a substitute for, a backup, because we don't have a clear and, you know, all-and-out striker that is for backup. Heung-min Son, obviously, our starting left-hand side winger. We've got a great winger here. It could just be a season where I might look into a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, that's the one. Definitely got to bring in a very, very good goalkeeper. Possibly look to bring in some better options at right back and left back. Obviously, they are great players, but we've not got the best depth. That is for certain, especially on the left-hand side. Ben Davies has got to be, 30 years old now. I could look to try and sell him, bring in a slightly younger fullback, because then obviously it future-proofs the club, because when the likes of Reguilon gets a bit too old, and Emerson Royale is actually 24, so he's got a lot of time left. What about Reguilon? 26, okay, so not the biggest issue to sort out, but definitely something we can do. But I think the main priority of this window is to bring in the best goalkeeper we can, and if that means spending majority of the budget on purely one player, that's what we'll do, because everyone else has been really good. But let's get into the third season of the transfers and hopefully bring in a world-class goalkeeper. So we're now into the third season of the transfers, and there's been a lot of action happen this window. We had a lot of offers come in for players who I was tempted to sell. So a lot of money has been brought into the club. So we've spent a lot of money purely based off the fact that we had a decent budget, and also we've got 100% of the revenue available to us. So when we sell a player, we get all of that. And you'll see on the next page, we got a really good price for Eric Dyer, so that's helped out massively. But the first player we bring in, we brought in, first off, a goalkeeper, which obviously was priority. It was a must because we're really lacking in that position now. We brought in Justin Bilal from, I believe it was Feyenoord he actually come from. Again, quite a young goalkeeper, got a bit of potential to grow, resolute personality, 6'2", very good attributes already at the age of 25. And there wasn't too many goalkeepers that wanted to move that were really already like full-on world class or were wonder kids. So this is who I went with. I feel like it's a solid choice, and obviously a goalkeeper that can be with us for sort of like, well, loads of years there really. You're talking at least sort of 7 years, probably more than that to be honest. So definitely a good sign in there. We then go ahead and try and strengthen the defense because we do end up selling some defenders. On this page, there are a lot more on the next page. You can see that we saw Ben Davies. We sold him to Chelsea for 12 million. A player who isn't bad, but he is, you know, 30 years old and he's on a bit of a decline. So that's why we decided to get rid of him. We replace him, who obviously is not purely for that position, but we bring in Wrench from PSG for 40 million. Obviously, formerly Ajax player, went to PSG. He was playing in their under 21 team, so he wasn't happy at the club. We give him an offer. He joined. Obviously, a very, very good player. Can play right back, centre back, and in midfield. He has got good potential in game. Only 20 as well. You know, fairly determined, wonder kid description as well, and just a good player that I always like to include in my saves because obviously he can play three positions very comfortably. So a very good player. We then bring in Kaiki from Sanchez. Obviously, definitely one for the future, not one for now. Purely because he was only 12 million. Again, we all know who this guy is. Decent potential. Not the tallest when it comes to being a centre-half, but loads of room to grow, and obviously valued at a lot more than what we paid for him. 12 million was his release clause, so be a bit stupid not to sign him. We then go on to the next page, and this is where like a lot of the business happened. Roy Parrott, we couldn't unfortunately get him on a contract, so he went on the free. Niall John on the free. Matthew Craig on the free. We then sell Winks for 11.7 million, nearly 12 million. We get 21 million for Dossy? Yeah. Always butcher that name, and it's an easy one to say. We let Mora go on the free. One, because he was going at the free at the end of the season. He didn't want a new contract, and it helped release wages now for when we brought in new players. So that's why he went on the free. And this is the surprising one. Atletico Madrid signing Eric Dyer, who isn't the best player, and he's 29. So it's not as if he's young. He's got room to grow. And they paid 38.5 million. So a lot of money for him. We then brought in from Cagliari Carboni for 13.2 million. Obviously, a fullback that's got tons of potential to grow. Obviously, these are going to be backup fullbacks, these people. They are there, though, to eventually take over first team when our fullbacks do age. But obviously, our fullbacks are still quite young. So they are going to be backup players. Obviously, agreed playing time as squad player. More than happy with it. And again, just a young player, fits in with the system, and also decent attributes as well. For considering it's going to be backup, more than good enough for that. We then turn our attention to, obviously, which is going to be the player that we did already have, but this is just showing that it did go through. Obviously, 30 million for a player that has been so good for us. Obviously, valued it a lot more as well. Don't really need to talk too much on him because you've seen him for 2 seasons now. We then go to Feyenoord. We needed to get another midfielder in because obviously we have sold a couple that can play there. So the first player I brought in is more of a player that isn't flashy, not even got the best potential, but he can play several positions and he does a good job. From Feyenoord, there's going to be Orgun Goku. I hope I said that right, or Gochu. He's not necessarily the best when it comes to ability, but his attributes are so well-rounded, and he can play in several positions in the midfield, and he is going to be back up, and he's also 22, so got the ability to, you know, sort of grow into that and become better. And to be honest, he's not the most, you know, he's not the most out there midfielder, and, you know, we might have even overpaid slightly for him, but he was a player that's comfortable in playing any position. He's 22, obviously fairly ambitious as well, and he was one of the players that sort of got scouted to me and was on the market. We then go to a player who I love signing on this game, and that is Nunes from Sport, and obviously a lot more better when it comes to ability. He is 24, so still quite young. He's instantly becoming an important player because he can get into the first team, as you can imagine. Prefers playing that advanced playmaker role, so he'll be sort of battling against Olmo. Olmo will probably win that battle, but Nunes can also drop back into any of these other roles and be still comfortable, not as good, but still very good. Obviously, attributes are very, very good. Decent height as well, being 6 foot in the midfield. But it's just one of them players which, again, he can do pretty much, he can play in similar positions to Gochu there, but Gochu's more of a less flashy player, probably not going to become one of the world beaters, you know, a top tier player, but definitely a player that helps add to the squad. And then the last signing we make is quite a costly one, but he is young, and this is going to be a winger that obviously is going to be struggling to get into the first team to start, but we have got Son that's getting older, and eventually this guy can get into the team, and that is a player which I've used a few times on this game. It's going to be Nori from Nice. Again, a player with his ability might not be anything too flashy for you, but he's a fantastic player. I've used him before. His finishing's great for a winger. Pace is decent. Off the ball, he's very good as well. Determination is good. Flair is decent as well. And he's only 23, so he has got potential to grow. And obviously, he only accepted regular starter, and he might be a regular starter depending, because obviously we didn't manage to sign a backup striker, meaning that Kane is the only man up there. So Son will fill in for him if Kane gets injured. Obviously, he's the most likely player to do that. But if we go in then and quick pick best 11, does it change anything? It doesn't. It doesn't, which it shouldn't, because obviously, apart from the goalkeeper, as I said, it shouldn't, because all the players I've signed are purely to strengthen the squad, not to take over the first team. So although that's weird, the amount of money we've spent, I am very happy that's not actually replaced anyone, because that shows that we've still got a clear first team. And what I've done here is got rid of a lot of old players that aren't really going anywhere and brought in substitute players that have got potential to grow. And that is the one thing this squad needed. Now, going forward from this, the only way that we're possibly going to be able to make signings that are going to impact the team is if Harry Kane decides to leave. He's obviously 29, so possibly going into the last season. I might bring in another world-class striker to sort of, you know, for when Kane does go on a decline. But other than that, we've got a really, really good team now. Obviously, Tomori and Romero at the back. We've got great rotation in the team now as well. And to be honest, we've just got a really good squad. But let's get into the third season and let's see how we do. Before we do get into that though, guys, if you are enjoying the video so far, I know I'm having a great time making it, do hit a like on the video, be sure to comment below as well, and do subscribe to the channel. It helps out massively, and do turn on notifications, because this way you're going to get notified when I upload, do a community post when I go live, and many other things. It's a great way to stay up to date with the channel. But let's get into season 3. So then, I've just finished simulating season 3, and we've been given a budget of 87.2 million, which obviously is a hefty wad of cash to spend. Now, I'm not sure entirely how I'm going to spend this, because at the end of the day, I said I didn't want to make the same mistake and keep signing players when I don't necessarily need them. But obviously, it does depend on how we finish. So let's have a little look. Okay, so we finished second in the Premier League. Let's have a quick look here then. So we won the Champions League. Jesus Christ, we won the Champions League against Barcelona, which is not expected. We won the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. So we've done the treble, but in a different order, basically. Obviously, we didn't win the Premier League. We unfortunately missed out on that by 2 points. But overall, still a fantastic season. Obviously, a club like Tottenham, obviously not won much in recent years. No shots intended there. But we've come in and we've managed to win trophies pretty much off the rip. And I feel like this signing here, I'm going to talk about him a lot more in depth. Before we do that, though, we're best now at conceding, only conceding 29. And we're the best at scoring 106. So if you're the best in these two stats, chances are you should be winning stuff. Unfortunately, it didn't really mean that in the Premier League, but I imagine in these competitions we've done a very, very similar sort of statistic type, you know, situation. But top goal scorer is going to be Harry Kane with 74 goals. Now, this guy has to be one of the best forwards I have ever used in Football Manager when it comes to obviously simulating a save, because this guy is banging in goals for fun. And Dani Olmo is doing exactly the same in his region. You know, he's doing 37 assists a season, is incredible. Highest match rating again, and he picked up the most player of the match awards. And honestly, that signing is one of the best signings I've ever made in a rebuild. I'm definitely redeeming myself after that Leeds rebuild where the signings are a little bit iffy. But overall a fantastic season. Let's quickly go and have a look then. Let's look at the squad. We'll have a quick look into this. So we've got 74 goals coming from Kane. We've got 30 coming from Kulusevski there. We've got 13 from Olmo, 12 from Son, 12 from Nori, which is good to see as well. So he is our new man, so he's sort of adjusting. 12 coming in for Tamori, I imagine, from set pieces. And then 6 and 6. Kaiki actually getting 6, very impressive there. Assists, we've obviously got 37 from the main man. Heung-min Son with 19. Kulusevski there with 16, Reguilon with 13, Kane with 11, Basuma with 11. Coco, obviously that centre mid who I said might not play a load of games, actually did turn up and play quite a few. 8 appearances there, 8 assists, sorry, 7 for Wrench. And honestly, like, what I'm liking about this team is, one, that the way that I've managed to get rid of all the slight older players that weren't really progressing and possibly haven't had the best time at Tottenham, and I've replaced them with young prospects that are not necessarily like 18, all of them. Some of them are sort of like young 20s, and they are really all contributing. And we've got like an 8.53 there. Obviously, he only played the 3 games, so we'll start from here. Danny Olmo there with the best match rating, but we've got loads of, you know, reasonably high 7s, and we've got some lower 7s here, but the only sort of weaker players in the team are dropping sort of 6 match ratings are going to be the likes of, well, this one's a bit disappointing actually with Nunes. He actually, well, appearance as a substitute 36 times. That's coming off the bench a lot. A lot of these are substitutes, so I'm not going to judge him too much. Obviously, Perisic is getting a bit old now, so he's on a bit of a decline. But overall, very happy with how that season went. I did not expect us to go out and win the Champions League, to be honest with you, in the entirety of the save. So we've done very well. But let's crack on then into the next transfer window. And hopefully, I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to strengthen, but I'll come back to you with some signings. So then, guys, let's talk about season 4 of the transfers. Now, I have spent a bit of money purely because I have found 2 players which I genuinely think are going to be the future of Tottenham Hotspur on this save. These are some of the players that have gone. So Bergwijn, unfortunately, didn't really get it running from the start. We let him go to Lazio for 9.2 million. Also, Davies and Sanchez, not really getting in the team much. We let him go to Wolfsburg, which is a great signing for them, for 14 million. Also, some, obviously, you know, some people here. Unfortunately, Divine there, who I didn't actually want to see go, but couldn't manage to keep him. But he's also gone as well on the free, which is very disappointing. But we do bring in 2 players who are, I'm a big fan of one of these players in particular because, you know, English lad, love the guy. First guy, Tammy Abraham, we're going to talk about. 85 million after add-ons, cheapest I could get him. We were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But he is a fantastic player. And the reason I've signed him isn't to replace Kane, because I've actually got Kane on a new deal, but it is good to have 2 good strikers in the squad. Kane's only getting older. Abraham is 4 years younger than Harry Kane. His attributes are fantastic. Very similar to Kane in the sense of he's probably not the most sort of agile player. He's a bit more tall, you know, great finisher with the ball. This guy's also quite quick as well. Very strong as well. So, I mean, it is really, really good to have players like this. And for me, he's similar to Harry Kane in the way that he plays. Like, he's not, you know, like a, what's the word, like a nippy sort of in and out skillful player. He's a brute force type of player, and I think he's a great alternative to Kane, to when Kane gets injured, or to when Kane's tired, or for when Kane does retire. And for 85 million, I actually don't think I overpaid. He's valued at a bit more than what I paid for him, and he's still got time to expand, still got time to grow. Spirited personality, elite striker, and honestly, genuinely think he's going to be a fantastic player for the team. We then go ahead and we decide to replace Davies and Sanchez. What I keep trying to do is when I sell an older player that isn't doing that well, try and bring in someone with a bit of potential, a bit of drive, a bit of ambition. And that is Bastoni from Inter Milan. 95 million after add-ons are included. Again, a fantastic player that you could argue could fit right into the first team ahead of Romero. Him and Tamori might actually end up starting, but even if he doesn't, he's a great player to have, to bring on, and he will definitely work his way into the team relatively quick because he is a star player. He is very, very good. He's an elite centre-back, and this guy, there's nothing bad about him really, is there? I mean, 16 tackling as an attribute, 25 years old, and just everything about him is reasonably quick, great bravery, great decision making, good determination, good teamwork, good vision. We could go on and on and on. And basically this guy alongside Samori, I genuinely think is going to be a partnership of dreams. And obviously it does leave us, if that is the case, say that they do get into the team and they are the starting two, that leaves us with two fantastic centre-backs. And a little fact for you guys, that now means that all four of our centre-backs did play in the Serie A. That is an interesting fact. But let's go over to the tactics board then, and let's quickly go and see what they say. Okay, yeah, they do put him in. I thought they would. It would be a little bit, you know. So we've still got Bilal and Go. We've got Royale, Tamori, Bastoni, Regulion, Bentancur, Basuma, Kuleveski, Olmo, Son, and Harry Kane. Then obviously on the bench, we've got, I am going to register these, by the way, so don't worry. We've got to obviously register Tammy Abraham is on the bench, Romero, Goku, Nori, Wrench, Huiberg, Gil, Kaiki, Nunes. Then on the reserves, we've got some fantastic players as well. And this squad now is, I mean, the squad was really good before, but now this squad's even better. And I don't honestly see an all and out sort of position I need to strengthen next window. The only position I look at this team now is, and it's the only sort of player which I possibly might look into bringing in a full-on world-class sort of, you know, 100 million player, would be in this lower midfield area, because obviously Bentancur's actually very good, and Basuma is also very good as well. But I'm on about, you know, getting a sort of end game top, you know, top upper echelon, real world-class player. Possibly could be an option. But let's get into the fourth season and hopefully win some stuff, because we've been on a big winning spree recently. So then, guys, that is going to be season 4 simulated, and this is where the seasons could take a little bit of a turn. So obviously, we brought in Abraham, we brought in another centre-back. I'm hoping it's not interfered with what we did have at the club. They were signings that did have to be made at the end of the day, because Kane is getting older, and also we did need we didn't necessarily need him, but it's nice to improve the defence even when it is doing well. And bringing in Bastoni, who was actually available to pick up, was a great shout. So hopefully it's not costed us and made us, you know, fall down the rankings in the Premier League and things like that. We have been given £101 million, by the way, so absolutely incredible, that is for sure. But let's go and have a little look at how we done. Wow. Okay, so we've won the Premier League title purely off goal difference. So Liverpool obviously equal points, but losing just out on goals. Fair few goals in it, to be fair. We won the Super Cup, won the Champions League again, obviously won the Premier League and the Community Shield. Not a great performance in the English Cup. Semi-final to Brighton, disappointing, and third round there to Man City, which is a bit more acceptable. Premier League, obviously the best for scoring goals, 115. We've got goals conceded, third best at 38. So overall, I would say a very, very good season, to be honest with you. Harry Kane, top goal scorer again, which is good to see, because obviously Abraham did come in, and I assume he has played some games, but obviously Harry Kane, I wanted to be the main man still. Dani Olmo, 7.77, highest match rating. I'm pretty sure, again, every season he's been here, he's got it. What a signing that was. 30 assists, best pass completion, sorry, coming from Kaiki. But let's go and have a little look then at some of the stats, shall we? Goals. Bam. There we go. So we've got 54 for Kane. Kuleveski there with 28. Fair play to him. 15 for Olmo, 14 for Abraham. Good to see. 13 for Son. We've got Bastoni here coming in with 9, I imagine, from set pieces. Nori, again, he is a backup winger, so not going to slate him too much. 7 and 7 for him. 7, we'll go to assists then. We've got 30 for Olmo, 19 for Kuleveski, 15 for Son, 11 for Goku. Wrench coming in there with 10, 9 for Basuma. And honestly, what I'm loving about this team is the fact that everyone's putting in a shift. Everyone's trying their hardest to contribute, and that's all I can ask for at the end of the day. Obviously, Dani Olmo there by far being the best match rater, because he has played a lot of games, you know, almost playing the highest number of games there. We've got Kuleveski there coming in at a reasonable close second. Then it drops down to like Kane, Abraham actually with a good match rating. Some of the weaker performers, this guy's played quite a lot of games. Bentancur was 6.8. And Nunes, again, playing a reasonable amount of games, a lot as a substitute with 6.8. But I'm not too fussed with that, because they are being brought on as subs. Now, the one thing I am going to say, we've got a ridiculous budget. It doesn't mean that we're going to bring in 7-8 players, because we don't need to. What I'm going to do now, because this is the last window I've got, guys, is I'm going to see if there's any players in this squad that aren't going to accept a contract, that are close to expiring, because that way I can get rid of them and bring in people that do want to be at the club. And also, I possibly am going to try and go out and get one all-and-out, complete world beater of a centre mid, and hopefully get someone that can slot into the first team with no worries, because that's the only position where we've got good midfielders, but it's probably the one position where, like, I think, yeah, if we had a real, you know, world-class midfielder, you know, it would be good, because obviously our fullbacks, again, I want to point this out because I don't think a lot of people might see this, but our fullbacks aren't what you'd say world-class, but they're doing a good job, so I don't want to replace the fullbacks at the end of the day, because it's... I brought in Bastoni, I know, but that's one defender out of 4. I don't want to keep replacing everyone. So at the end of the day, I'm going to keep that back line. Obviously, we've got Wrench that can play on the right. We've got Kaiki that can also play on the left as well, I believe. Where is Kaiki in this side? And he's centre back, isn't he, Kaiki? He's centre back. It's right. Yeah, it's him. Okay. Yeah. So we've got depth in there. Possibly then, one thing I will say is maybe we could look into bringing in another left back, possibly like a backup. But that's to be decided. But let's get in to the 5th transfer window. Before we get into that though, guys, please do leave the video a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications as well, because this way you're never going to miss an upload, a live stream, or a community post. It's a great way to stay in touch with the channel and keep up to date with the content. But let's get in to the final season of the transfers. So then, guys, welcome to the final transfer window then of this save. We've not really had a bad window so far. Everyone we've signed has done well, and we've decided to bring in 3 players now, and these players are to sort of give us more depth and, you know, that sort of thing. So we have had one player unfortunately leave on the free, which is going to be Ndombele. He wouldn't accept a new contract. He wasn't happy at the club. But we replace him with Palacios from Bayer Leverkusen for 48.5 million. He is a slightly older player, but his attributes are really well-rounded and didn't cost us a fortune either. I didn't want to spend everything we had, and also he's very suited in that deep line playmaker role, which is exactly what we're looking for. And, you know, I got him because I'm just after someone that is... I did want to say one that was a really out there, dominant, you know, guaranteed first team player. But I was looking at the players that I got scouted and looking around naturally, and sort of like, I wanted Bellingham, but I couldn't attract him. He didn't want to come, and this guy just looked right. I mean, he's not going to be a complete world beater, but he is definitely going to be able to get into the midfield. And he's not going to sort of like, it will also give a chance then to the likes of Nunes and also Højbjerg to get into that team, and it will be a constant battle. And that's what that's why this team thrives so much, is because there's constant battle for them for that first team spot. So that is a great addition to the team. We then bring in Mendes from PSG for a very small fee of 27.5 million, because he's not developed the best on this save, but considering he's going to definitely be back up to start at least, I am 100% willing to take a gamble on him, because he is a great player, and to be honest, he just needs a little bit of work. And for that price tag at 23, he's got decent attributes anyway. He can definitely grow and adapt to the Premier League, and one day he could take over that, you know, that first team position. But when I saw him at that price, I was like, I'm taking a gamble on him. Moving on then, now this is just a backup goalkeeper, nothing too special. As you can see there, we lost Jamie Donnelly and Ndombele on the free. We brought in Livakovic. I hope that's how you say that. I'm really bad at pronunciations. I don't know why. I've used this guy a lot, but in this case, he is going to be purely backup. He only cost us 7 million, and it just gives us a reasonable backup keeper to our first team option. This is the first save where I've not actually spent all the transfer budget, purely because I don't feel like it was needed. We've got a great squad now. We've got a great team. I'm not going to show you the tactics, because it wouldn't, like, I'm not going to show you the team again, because obviously the players that we brought in are going to be purely substitute players. But at the end of this season, we'll break down the squad, let's see what we've done over 5 years, etc., etc. But that is going to be all of the transfers. And I think over these 5 seasons, we've had one hell of a transfer window in each window. The best player has to be this guy, though. What a signing he has been for us. Dani Olmo, obviously, now 27, nearly hit the max ability. He's just such a good player. And considering we only paid about 64 million for him, I think he's worth that easily with what he's done. What a player he has been. But let's get into the last season and hopefully replicate season 4's success. So then, that is going to be the final season simulated. Now, this has been by far, I think, the most successful rebuild we've done in terms of the players we've brought in, what we've won already. Obviously, we had quite a good one with United, but I feel like this was a bit more of a challenge because there was, at the end of the day, Tottenham, they did have a decent team, but we definitely had to make sure that we, hit the right targets, and I feel like we've done that with the players we've brought in. But let's see how we've done. Obviously, we've left them in a great financial situation. They remain rich. They've got 85 million in the budget. Wage budget is looking very tasty as well. But let's go and have a look and see exactly how we done. So, perfect. So, we absolutely dominated the Premier League in our last season. 80 goal difference. Obviously, they're on 102 points. Absolutely thumping Liverpool in second place. Man United and Man City trailing behind even then. We actually also managed to win the Champions League versus Arsenal. Shout out for them to, get into the final. We also beat them in the final of the Super Cup, which obviously sort of like the pre-season sort of trophy. So that's another one. Obviously, so we're 3 trophies in so far. Lost in the quarters against Man United, which is a little bit disappointing. But I can't be too disappointed as we do go on to win the Carabao Cup against Man United and also the Community Shield against Newcastle. So we actually win 5 trophies in the last season. And that must total our trophy count to something quite ridiculous because we've been winning everything all over the shop. Again, we're the best in the league, 108 goals scored, 28 goals conceded, ranking us the best in that category as well. A lot of yellow cards, but we'll allow that. Harry Kane coming in with 65 goals. Dani Olmo, again, the highest match rating and the most assists. By far, the most consistent player in the team. We'll go into the squad then. So goals, we've got 65 from Harry Kane. Kulusevski coming in with 29, Abraham with 26, looking very positive there because obviously, that sort of does mean that at least Harry Kane is going to have a backup option, is going to be the man that's going to replace him, and I think it is genuinely a really, really good thing to be doing. We've got Dani Olmo here then coming in with 21 goals as well, Bastoni with 18, which is incredible for a centre-half. We've got Heung-min Son with 13 goals, assists, we've got 38 for Dani Olmo, we've got 24 for Kulusevski, we've got 16 for Kane, 13 for Son, 12 for Nunes, sorry, 10 for Goku. Goku, a player that's been playing, or Gochu, so I don't know how you say that. He's been playing a lot of games. It's very good. A lot of substitute performances, but overall, a very, very, very good performance from pretty much everyone in the team. Some good match ratings down this column here. If we look into the tactics then, we can sort of see exactly how we've left this team. And we've left it in a very good situation, obviously. We've left the club in a great way as well. But the start on 11 remains to be in the likes of Bilal, I think how you say that, Bilal, Royale, Tamori. I said Royale there like I'm eating chicken Royale. Royal there, Tamori, Bastoni, Regulion, Bentancur, Basuma, Kulusevski, Olmo, Son and Kane. And on the bench, if you can even call it a bench, because some of the players are simply amazing. You've got Abraham, Romero, Gochu, you've got Nori, Wrench, Højbjerg, Gil, Kaiki, Nunes. You've got Lavkovic, I think that's how you say that, Mendes, Palacios, Carboni, Tanganga, Rodon, Lo Celso. Honestly, the squad is ridiculous now. And what we've done very well this save is we have slowly managed to change the squad instead of rapidly managing to do it. And I think that's possibly the mistake I made in a couple that I've done, is I've tried to change the squad way too soon. This time we've sort of slowly got rid of the people we don't want and brought in great talent, and we've left the squad in a great way. They've still got money to reinvest into it, so I mean it's a great situation we've left them in. We go into the club info now. Obviously the training facilities are bang and youth facilities are great. Coaching could do with a little bit better, and the youth recruitment possibly, but rich, good bank balance. And now if we go onto my personal profile, let's go and have a little look at the milestones, shall we? So just make sure we've actually, Yep, just making sure, because like for a second now I tripped out. I thought we'd only played 4 seasons, but no, we obviously, so in the first season we actually managed to win the Carabao Cup, the Premier League, the Conference and the Community Shield. Now if you look how far we have come from the Conference League to where we are now, it is honestly outrageous. So we done the quadruple in our first season. We go to the second season, we win 5 trophies. We win the Carabao, the FA Cup, the Premier League again. No, we don't, sorry. It's 4 trophies. It's just, for some reason, they always like to add this in here. So we win the quad again. Carabao, FA Cup, Premier League, and the Community Shield. So another 4 trophies there. We then bounce back. We then go into the next season. Carabao Cup, we enter the Personal English Hall of Fame, the FA Cup, the Champions League, obviously the Community Shield, and the Super Cup winners as well. So we don't win the Premier League in that season, but we replace it by winning the Champions League, which was quite nice. We then enter the English Hall of Fame, the Worldwide Hall of Fame, and these are like little personal sort of milestones. We win the Premier League again, win the Champions League again, the Community Shield, and the Super Cup. So again, picking up 4 trophies. And then it brings us back to our last season where we are successful enough to win the Carabao, the Premier League, and also the Champions League. And there you go, the top of the English Hall of Fame. And that is what I like to call a very, very successful 5 years. And by far, I would say, definitely the best in terms of how we turn the club around. Obviously, Tottenham are a great club, but there's definitely aspects like they're not really known for winning a lot. And I feel like I've come in, and as you can see here, so like we got hired here, first season here. So season 1 we done well, season 2 we go up a bit here, season 3, season 4, season 5. Like, I mean, in 5 years we've taken them from conference winners to Champions League winners, and we've won a lot more than just one Champions League. So overall, a fantastic episode, I think, and I hope you guys did enjoy it, because at the end of the day, like, I do really enjoy making rebuilds, and I know that you guys like watching them. And yeah, so that is going to be it for this side of things. But before we do go, guys, please do leave this video a like. Also leave a comment below. It helps the video get found in the algorithm, helps the channel out massively. And if you did enjoy it enough, it would mean the world to me if you guys would subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way you're never going to miss an upload when I go live, when I post out a community post, because I often do post community posts because it helps me structure the channel, get to know what you guys want to, you know, what you want to see. Basically, at the end of the day, this content is made for you guys. I want to be uploading what you want to see. I want you to enjoy when you come by and stop by the channel. So I really do appreciate the support I've been getting recently. It's been really, really mind-blowing, to be honest. But that is going to be it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.